During the last few weeks I've taken you to several different locations that I enjoy going to. The Warnham Nature Reserve, Pulborough Brooks, the Cookmere Haven, Ditchling Common, just to name but a few. But today I'd like to take you on safari, a back garden safari. We have just a modest back garden here in Sussex, but it's amazing how many different varieties of insect, birds and animals we get to be able to photograph right on our back door. As I say, I think our garden is a relatively modest garden. We've been here now for 40 years, and one of the first things that I wanted to do was to create a garden pond, and this has opened the door to my being able to photograph quite a variety of different wildlife. This ranges from the very small, such as the spider, the fly, various grasshoppers and crickets of course, damselflies and dragonflies. Also quite a variety of different birds come to drink and feed at the pond. We have the sparrow and here a beautiful fieldfare. But the largest visitor we've ever had, and have quite regularly, is a heron. Now I must be honest, I don't mind if he takes the odd fish or two. We do have some goldfish, but I'm more interested in the real wildlife that we have, such as those dragonfly and damselfly. And unfortunately the goldfish are a hindrance to the development of the wildlife. So if the heron takes a few, it's not a problem in my book. In early 2018 I bought a macro lens and started to practice out in the garden and looking at various insects. But what really blew me away was when I photographed this bumblebee and noticed the mites just behind each side of the head. I'd never seen anything like that before. On several occasions I spotted damselfly mating, and of course when damselfly mate there is an inevitable outcome. Here I was fortunate enough to find one of the babies that had now developed to the stage where it was going to turn into an adult and fly, and I was able to photograph all the stages as it expanded its body and wings and finally took form ready to fly away. Each year, the common darter is a regular visitor to our pond. But also we've got here the southern hawker, which has just emerged from its nymph form. And for the first year in 2021, we had this beautiful broad-bodied chaser. And here is another common darter. This time I videoed it at 25% speed to really slow down the motion as it takes off and then circles round to land back on this leaf. Now this clip was not taken in my back garden. This was actually recorded at the Knepp estate near Horsham, where I hired the hide for a morning to photograph the little owl. David Plummer, who organised this, or I arranged it with, showed me how he set it up and how he used mealworm to attract the birds to a particular tree stump. And I thought, this is so ludicrously simple, I could do this at home. It'd be a great way to photograph birds in my back garden. I'm delighted to say it was a great success, and it didn't take long to capture quite a number of photographs of this magpie, or indeed a couple of magpie. But sadly, they kept the small birds away. I got through a lot of mealworm, but I got a lot of photographs. Well, hello and welcome to my garden shed. A little bit different from the other videos I've done so far. I decided to do a little bit of bird photography in the back garden, where we have a number of different species that visit us quite regularly. Blue tits, very common here, robins and occasional wrens, and great tit I've seen, starlings, pigeon, the occasional heron. Anyway, what I've done is I've set up my very cluttered garden shed with the tripod with a gimbal mount on it, my Nikon Z7 II and the 200 to 500mm lens, and I've set up outside a branch where I made this stand to lash the branch to, and I've put a couple of little containers which I've filled with both sunflower seed and some mealworm to attract the birds in. And yeah, I'm pleased to say I've already taken a number of shots of both the robin and the blue tits in particular, also a magpie, and now we'll see what we'll get today. Well, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this look at back garden wildlife photography and how I've gone about it. I hope it might have given you one or two ideas. I'm going to close with these shots I took of my trail cam, I should say, took of the fox. Sadly, we haven't seen it now for over 12 months, but I keep my trail cam out in the hope that we might see it again before too long. Thanks again.